Hello, Saints. I'm Roger Martin, and this is a network that's dedicated to encourage God's saints. Did you know, because of Christ and because of His blood that was shed, do you realize that all your sins have been forgiven you? Not only your past, your present, but your future. Christ has done this for you. And so what this really means is that you've been cleansed. And if you've been cleansed, that means that you've been made holy. You've been separated from judgment now. God took your judgment. You can be called a saint. God's perfect people. Now you say, well, wait a minute, Roger. I don't have my act together. Well, I got good news for you. As long as you're in this body, in this flesh, you'll never get your act together. Now, we all hope that we grow and mature and get better at living a Christian life. And this is the evidence of people that understand grace. But we don't look there. We look to the fact that Jesus, we're totally dependent on Jesus for our salvation. We're totally dependent on Him. This is a very difficult thing to understand. It comes by revelation. I want this network, God's Saints Network, to be an encouragement to you. And not so much just to pump you up in some kind of mental state, but I want you to have a firm foundation that you're going to have to be totally dependent on Christ to the day you die for your sins. You have to look to Him and understand that once and for all He paid the price for every sin. And this is hard for people to understand. They don't have an issue with their past sins and they become a Christian. They have kind of issues with their present sins, today's sins. They feel condemnation, they feel unworthy. There's all types of emotions and feelings when people fall short of things that God would want us to do. And our future sins, people just hard to understand how God has already prepared and already taking care of my future sins. So this website, this God Saints Network, is going to explain to you and help you get established in the understanding of your right standing with the Father. That it's not based on your goodness and your conduct. Because if it is, you've already failed. And you'll fall tomorrow if you're depending on your conduct for God's favor. And so I want you to start thinking about what He's done for you. The love of God that knew that you could not get your act together, knew that you would continue to fall somewhere in your lifestyle, and yet He went ahead and made provisions. He paid the penalty, that is, for every one of your sins. Isn't that wonderful? And so I know that you're hearing me, but I know that there are a lot of you are not hearing me. I mean, you hear, but you don't hear. This is very important for you to really understand that you don't have to live in condemnation, condemning yourself, feeling unworthy, feeling like you disappointed God. That is the nature that we have, an earthly nature. That is just an enemy against things of God. But I want you to know this, that when you learn and when you fail, that you immediately acknowledge that Christ has paid the penalty, and God will never leave you or forsake you, and you have His favor upon your life. And that this is really what God calls us to do, is to depend on Him. And so God's Saints Network is about you learning and understanding to let go of all religion, works and performances, and to understand that you are not worthy in the natural, but the blood of Christ has cleansed you. And if you'll accept that and acknowledge that, then it becomes a reality. You are God's saints. I'll be coming on and sharing some things from day to day, and we also put other ministers up that you'll listen to that are excellent speakers. Now, we don't endorse all these ministers, their complete ministries, because we really don't know all about their ministries and everything that they believe. But these are messages that I think that would help you really come to an understanding that you are now God's saint. You are now God's perfect people. You are now that church that's been made ready for the coming of the Lord. And it doesn't depend on your conduct, but it depends on your faith in God's ability to do it. And remember, you're God's saint.